All right, so we are back from our break now. Right before we went on break, we were talking about how your mother and father got married. She just kind of got up and left her house, and started living with her husband, which is your father. Um, Tell us a little bit about their story. Anything that you know about their early marriage or life together.
Their early marriage was interesting because it was my whole world, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got a house, they started having children, and when I came into the picture, is like my there was four of us, but so my older brother was born, and then I was born, and I remember, and my other brother was born too, but he was a baby, and I remember living in this house up in this hill, and it's still Mexico. So we're living with like scorpions on the wall, and centipedes outside, and snakes or whatever. It's the Sonoran Desert,
Mm-hmm.
so there's a bunch of that. But I remember as a little kid that we used to like climb like these stone steps all the way to the top because there wasn't really like there was just houses anywhere
Mm-hmm.
on hills and everything like that. So we'd live on this big hill and we'd always used to go all the way up. There was a kitchen, a bathroom, and one room. And we all lived in it and life was beautiful. And the way we took showers was me and my brother in this huge bucket, and there's pictures of us doing it. They finally like have pictures. And so I know. I just remember I hated it because my older brother and we're like 3 and 4, 3 and 5. No, 3 and 4. I hated it because it was like too cold. But he always used to just pull me back in because he would laugh at me while I was crying. He found amusement in that.
Was a
Um,
big brother love.
I guess so. We were 1 year apart, and he was just always tormenting me like all the time. But climbing those steps, like I'd have to like raise my foot as high as my waist to go up the steps, and many times I'd fall and I'd hit my head on the concrete, and so
Mm-hmm.
like I have like some scars from it, So, but that's how we lived. We didn't have refrigerators. We'd buy a block of ice every now and then, and so we lived that way.
Very humbly. So when your mother and your father got married, did they move far away from where their parents were living?
Well, we were still in the same town that everyone lived.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was getting too much because the brothers and sisters, and so my mom's brothers got involved into drugs,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they would steal because my mom and dad were doing pretty good. That was pretty good back then.
Right.
But her brothers were coming and stealing stuff from our house. We didn't have like great locks or anything. There's a stone house, and they'd steal stuff. And so it got to the point that like they wanted to be away from all of the family. So he said, "Well, let's go to the United States then." And she's like, "What are we gonna do there? We don't even know how to speak English or da da da." He's like, "Well, we'll make it work. We make everything work." And so she's like, "All right, you're the leader."
And at this time, what was your dad doing for work
He was a electronic engineer for Motorola
in Mexico?
in Mexico. He
Mm.
was going every day doing that. He was like getting paid really well, and he'd show up with the short sleeve engineer shirt with a tie,
Yeah.
like the pocket protector that really was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was like classic that, and he'd be like doing like a bunch of electronic stuff for Motorola. He was like one of the rising stars. They'd give him awards. He had a bunch of awards from that place.
Wow.
So he knew everything about like PCB boards and how to route certain circuits to what circuits and diodes and whatnot. Anyway, so he said, "Let's go. Let's go to the United States. I know that there's a barrier there that a lot of people can't cross of our family, so let's try it." So she's like, "Okay, let's go." So they actually left everything.
They left everything. He
They
left his career,
left the career, left the house,
left the family.
left everything. The only what they could taken there in they had a VW bus,
Hmm.
and so they just loaded what needed for the children, and whatever they had on them. They didn't have a lot of money, but he was determined.
Mhm.
He knew he was going to make it work. They drove, and they ended up in Phoenix, and so they applied for a visa for a couple of weeks. I mean, they didn't totally just leave everything because they thought if it gets too bad, let's go back,
Right.
right? So they applied for the visa and they got it. And so they're like, okay, we're not going back. So whoever wants to steal the house, whatever happens over there happens. We no longer have anything with that place.
Wow. So then was this must have been when your dad was probably around, so if he was 26, he must have been like around 31, 32 years old.
Yeah,
And what year was this when your family migrated over here?
about 1974.
1974.
Yeah, and
Still
so,
pretty easy to come to the United States around those times.
yeah,
Yeah, relatively easy compared to times nowadays.
yeah, and it was just doing it right. Back then they didn't have like computers or registry of people or whatever. So it was like, I'm gonna fill out this card. What do you think? Stamp on it. I mean, we have a killer ink stamp.
Mhm.
We could make it official. So it was funny back then. But so then he was in Phoenix, and like he didn't have anything. He couldn't, like, none of like his schooling or any of his like job experience could get him a job at like some IBM or whatever. He was like this Mexican dude with like super broken English. Super. He barely knew what he was saying probably at times. So anyway, he decided to like just take a job as a dishwasher. Like he had to start somewhere. We needed to live somewhere. We lived in this one room thing with a shared bathroom with like a bunch of one room things. And my mom was pregnant with my youngest brother. So there's 4 boys. 3 were already born, and the last one was gonna be born.
And share with us the names of your brothers.
So my older brother is also Rafael, like
Mhm.
my dad. Me, David, of course, and my younger brother Luis, and my youngest brother Hector, and which ended up being born in
In
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Hmm.
So Rafael, you, and
Luis,
Luis were born in Nogales, or
yeah, we were all born in Nogales.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
In Mexico.
because my dad was working in Motorola. We lived in that house, and they were building their family. So Mexico, yeah, Nogales, Mexico.
Mm.
And so they had Hector on the way.
Your
And
dad took on a dishwashing job, and your mom at this whole time, was she a stay-at-home
Yeah,
mom or
stay at home.
housewife?
Yeah, she had her hands full with 3 kids.
Right.
Just making her life wild.
Yeah.
So at the same time, he just didn't do the dishwashing. He was also working a graveyard shift, doing something else that I don't know what it was, but it had something to do with like not paid intern electronic stuff.
Mm.
So he could get in of a better job. So I remember living that life, and living and it was still killer. It was still killer because we were like, I just remember laughing all the
All
time.
together.
All together. We all slept on one bed. It was the weirdest thing, but I guess we were small enough for that,
Right.
So, and just like talking to our like little blonde-haired girl neighbors, this was funny too because I had no idea what they were saying.
Hmm.
I didn't speak English.
Where did your family move to? What part?
We're in Phoenix
In
at this
Phoenix.
point, yeah.
Okay.
So we ended up in Phoenix, and because that was the capital of the state, and so that's where they applied for the visa to stay. They initially applied for a visa for a couple of weeks because they just wanted to see if this is the right move, and that's why they didn't tell anybody, or they just locked the house and said, "Let's go. We'll go back to the house if it doesn't work out."
So it was a cultural shock for you as well.
I don't know. At that point, when you're that age, that I was like 4, 5 years old. You just don't know what's going on. It's like, oh,
Right.
I don't know what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
I guess I'm learning another thing. I didn't know. I just didn't know what they were saying.
Hmm.
Thinking back on it,
Hmm.
like at the time, it was just like, it is
You're
what
just
it is.
living, yeah.
Like, hi,
Right. You moved from one house to another house. It could have been across the street and you would have known.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't have known. I don't know. But yeah, so my dad was doing that stuff because he was completely gone, and he'd come home, and I just like one time, I have this vivid memory of like all my brothers asleep, and she's pregnant, and he comes home, and I'm watching Sesame Street like night. It must be like midnight or 2 a.m. or something. He comes home and they start dancing and they're like started kissing, and I didn't want to see that. I was like, "That's my mom. Don't do that." I was trying to break them up, and they were laughing about it. So my brother was born, and so that, uh, unbeknownst to them, that uh, made them naturalized, not naturalized, that gave them the right to stay in the United
Give them
States.
residency, right?
Yeah, residency, because they were, oh, resident aliens. They were
Hmm.
resident aliens at that point, not citizens, but resident aliens. So that opened up a lot more where we could get like Social Security, or they could get Social Security numbers, and my dad could actually, apply for a little bit better job, not necessarily the CEO or
Right.
whatever, but he started working at like a 7-Eleven, and in the 80s there was like, or no, early 80s there was like arcades, but like he did like a bunch of odd jobs, until it took a bunch of years before he could actually get a real legit electronic technician job, because he had the knowledge for it.
Hmm.
He was like, he could smoke anybody on like doing anything.
Yeah.
Eventually, he started working for National Semiconductor and Burr Brown, and they moved him up quickly in the electronics field. But back then, when my brother was born, we were still kids, and in the 70s, growing up with, it was a great time. We were on our bikes learning English, not knowing we were learning English. We were just going to school,
Hmm.
you know. And then they wanted to move back because they missed their family. So we moved to Nogales, but they were told that they couldn't go across the line unless they were going to stay there. So they're like, we can't go across the line. We were already like making great strides in the United States,
Hmm.
but they decided to stay in Nogales where the some of the family could cross over and say hi. So we lived in Nogales, Arizona for a bit, and then they were reminded how much they didn't want to be near family,
Mm.
so they moved to Tucson, Arizona. Um, and this is all just like they're not planners. They're just like, we're gonna make it work. However, we're gonna make it work. It's not like we definitely don't have the money to do this. We definitely don't have the plan to do this, and we might like lose at this game, but we need to do this.
Mm.
They moved to Tucson, lived in a trailer, and just kept growing from there. We were going to school, you know. By this time, it's like late 70s, early 80s. We're like really. So in 1982, I was about 10 years old, right? And I'm growing up, and my dad always had a guitar, steel string guitar, which was like interesting because like it kind of hurt fingers, so I didn't even touch it. But we all had this music in us, right? Every Christmas was like they'd give us little plastic guitars, and we'd like pretend da da da. But it was deeper for us with that. We would love that. They'd give us like all these Christmas toys or whatever. And a lot of times we got fruit for Christmas, fruit and nuts for Christmas, and like this red stocking. which was awesome too. I
Mhm.
loved getting an orange for Christmas. It was different.
Yeah, you can't. It can't. People can't say anything about getting socks for
Yeah,
Christmas because you're getting
yeah,
fruit. I
yeah.
mean,
It was awesome. It
yeah.
was lovely. It was lovely. But we started getting into music growing up in like the '70s and like these rock bands like Zeppelin and Foreigner. It's crazy because it was like way out of whack, And my parents did not listen to Mexican music at all
Hmm.
on purpose. It's like their what my grandparents my grandparents did with Spain, they were doing with Mexico.
Mm.
They were like, we're American. Even my dad, every till the day he died, when people ask him, where are you from? He'd be like, Arizona. He would never want to say Mexico. He
Hmm.
just like had this like thing that we had to say that we're American. And so it's funny because growing up in Arizona and back in the 70s and like 80s, they had these things like buy 12 8 tracks for a penny or 12 CDs for a penny, 12 albums for a penny, 12 cassettes for a penny. And they had these promos going on. And so they would join them by mistake because they don't know, like, oh, okay, so I'll send this back with a penny and they'll give us all these albums or whatever.
Hmm.
So they would order all these country albums to assimilate into America because they said, like, English is American, country music is American.
Right.
Not that rock and roll stuff from the 50s. That wasn't American. That was like global, you know. But country music is more American. That's gonna make us like fit in better,
Mm.
right? So I grew up listening to a lot of Buck Owens and like the outlaw country stuff, So I love that kind of music. It's funny. But yeah, so and my brother gravitated to a lot of the rock music, like the Foreigners and like the Led Zeppelins and you know Blue Oyster Cult, the '70s music.
Mm.
Moving on to the '80s, here's the thing: like as a child growing up watching my dad playing guitar, that's the last thing that I ever wanted to do because it was so uncool. Yet we still had that music in us. Like, so I want, instead of like following his footsteps, I'd like try to play violin. I look because I needed a musical outlet for some reason. I didn't know I needed it, but I was playing violin.
And at this point, did you know that your grandfather played violin?
No,
No.
not at all.
Mm.
And no one told me at the time. It's like not till like late, late, late in life. And I was like playing violin. I loved the violin. But it felt limiting for me. It's like now I know because today as a composer, I've written symphonies, like everything is like I understand why it was limiting to me because I
Hmm.
would see other violinists and they were happy and I'm like, I'm not happy. This is just like one note, two notes at the max. And so one time, like many times my dad's like, come here, let me teach you something on the guitar. Let me teach you because he wanted to like show me the guitar. I'm like, no, I'm good, I'm good. But one time I passed by him and he was doing something incredible to me at the time. It was like playing multiple strings at the same time. So it was like, you know. So at that time,
Wow.
I'm playing violin and I'm like
Right.
one note at a time. So like I finally went up to him, and this is a story I tell at some of my concerts too, because I always have this song as an encore of my last piece. It's the first song I ever learned. So I, swallowed my pride and went up to him and said, okay, I will take a lesson from you. And like the big smile on his face was ridiculous. I hated it, but like I needed to play that. So he taught me that. And from then on, I was 10 years old. And from then on, it like somehow consumed my soul. People don't find their passion. Maybe sometimes they go throughout their life.
Without ever finding it.
Yeah. And it's like they have many loves, but passions are few with people. So I found my passion at that age, whether I like it or not.
You weren't trying to find it,
No,
actually.
I
Yeah,
was
you
not.
were.
But it consumed me. And so it got to the point where I was playing guitar. Like almost 8 hours a day. Like that's unheard of. Who does that? Who wants that? I don't even want that. But it was happening to the point where my mom was getting mad that I was playing it. It became like my addictive Xbox. I was a gamer, for like every day. That's what the guitar was to me. And I don't know why that happened. I wasn't planning on that. I didn't plan on that, but it just was, you know.
Wow. That's I mean, the way that you just played that right now too, I was like mind blown. But to take it back to that, you're during that time it was the 80s, right? So you were into music. If you were into a guitar, you were into an electric guitar, right? I don't know the actual name to an electric guitar, but you weren't listening to any of that, right? You weren't listening to what you play nowadays.
See, I was not listening to that. I was only listening to classical. I
Mm.
loved Beethoven. I was like 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, listening to classical.
And is that what gravitated you towards the violin?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
That's why the violin. But like, I didn't understand. We didn't have TV or anything like that, so I didn't understand how Beethoven could have like this sound of a symphony. No, and all you see is like images like a violin with classical music on the front cover of the 8 track or the album, like someone with a violin. But I didn't realize it was a 60 piece, orchestra, and I could not make that sound with a one violin. I just was that like you're dumb when you're not exposed to anything. It's like, how
Mhm.
do you get that sound? Oh, with 60 people, you
Mhm.
know? So, but when my dad did that, that's when I realized that I needed more notes, more fingers, more everything to get more of a sound.
Do you remember the guitar that your dad had?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was the worst guitar in the world, probably. I mean, I say that now, but it was the best guitar. Like I actually took it to school once. I got in trouble for that because I wanted to show my friends how great this thing was. It was in elementary school, third grade, and I was trying to show it to my teacher, and they were angry that I brought it. It's like I don't know how I snuck it out of the house,
Yeah. The
but
guitar was probably bigger than you.
yeah, and it wasn't like a Mexican guitar is a thing. I think he got it like somewhere in the United States. It was it was just like made out of plywood with like all painted with sunburst steel strings on it that like the tuning pegs were like very cracked and broken. The action on it, the meaning the height from like where you have to press the string down onto the neck was really high, so it was hard to play, which probably built muscle in me.
Hmm.
But if I had that guitar right now, it would be like I'd break it or burn it because it's so hard to play. But I don't know what happened to it. No one knows what happened. I've asked my dad. I've asked my mom. I've asked everyone. Like, whatever happened? It's like, I don't know. Got lost in. We moved so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But it's a guitar that you'll always remember.
I'll remember it.
Yeah.
I see it. I smell it. I actually can feel it. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's the guitar that I'll never forget.
It's one of those guitars. It's one of those pieces that you will frame. It
Yeah,
started. It
I would
started
frame
it
it.
all. Yeah, it started it all. I mean, it's to what you can play nowadays. It's brought you a long way. Like you said, it's created a muscle memory.
Hmm.
It's built your skills to what
Hmm.
you can play now. So
So here,
you.
I never played electric guitar, but my younger brother Luis, he needed to play electric guitar. He felt the electric guitar when I was playing that kind of guitar. He actually wanted to be a guitarist as well, separate from me. He didn't want to do what my dad did either, but he felt electric guitar. So every time, like we shopped at, I know thrift stores are like trendy, and they've been trendy for like 20 years now. Back in the day, thrift stores were for like poor
Hmm.
people, right? So we used to go to thrift store. That's where we bought our clothes and everything like that. And there was, of course, the swap meet too. That
Yeah.
was like swap meets are cool now. They have live bands at swap meets and everything like that. But swap meets also were like for poor people.
Hmm.
So that's we bought our clothes and all everything. Like we had mismatched plates and spoons and like decor. Everything was a mess. So there was a guitar that was $25, and my parents splurged and got that for him.
And this was an electric guitar.
Electric guitar, yeah, and it's like a little crappy guitar that he just adored, and he was playing all this rock on it. And I mean, let's just put it out there. He right now is one of the most amazing electric guitarists in the world to me right now. He's played with like everyone from Glenn Hughes to UFO to Matchbox 20 to Train. Everyone hires him for everything. He's done a lot of. He did Mike. If people know about guitarists and electric guitar, he did all the guitars on one Michael Schenker album, which is like amazing thing. He worked with Mike Varney, the lead guy from Shrapnel Records, who hires all the Ingves and the shredders of the world. So right now he's the lead guitarist for a band called Foreigner, which is a legendary band that they just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year as one of the, and he's been doing this forever.
And so, did you and your brother, obviously, taking it back to this time, there probably wasn't money for guitar classes and instructors or any of that. Did you and your brother learn all this just by listening to a track and trying to mimic it, trying to replicate it? How did you guys learn this?
So back in the day, we were at the mercy of what was getting played on the radio. We couldn't. I want to listen to this, unless we had an 8-track for my parents.
Right. You were listening to what was on the radio, and that's it.
And like they had like an Elvis, like, okay, but for him, or for us, actually, we were like we played together. I played the acoustic, he played the electric, and we started doing stuff together. And this is elementary school, and one of the music teachers heard my brother play, and she was dating the guitar professor from the University of Arizona. We're living in Tucson at this time. So she's saying, there's this great kid that plays amazing, da, da, da. So she told him about it, and like, we're just like, we don't care. Who is this? And so she had us play in the gym. Then we lived right across from the elementary. She had us play for him, and he was like, we need to like redo everything you guys are doing. You guys are very talented, but we need to redo everything. And it's kind of offensive for us because we think we're like grand, But at this point, my parents don't even know that we play this well, until we're telling them that this guy from the University of Arizona came to see us. We don't even know what that is. That means we were calling the U of A. This guy from the U of A is a teacher there. And they're like, U of A? What did you guys do? We're like, what? Well, we play guitar. Like, but how? Like, what did you guys play? Like, do you guys play? So we like, show us what you played. So we did it in the living room, and their like jaws were dropped. They're like, when did you learn this? When did you learn how to play like this?
Can you play a little bit of that right now? Do you have that remembered?
It was just like we were like doing something simple, like not stairway, but like it was like something like very basic, like I don't know. And then my brother would be. And like I was doing like background stuff,
It was a melody.
It was a little melody, yeah. So, but it was fun. It was fun, like messing around and writing songs with him because we were being like kind of silly too, like putting like cuss words in songs, like in our room, and we're like, oh,
yeah, I'm getting in trouble for that.
We were like laughing, but apparently he took us under the wing, and like we started being like getting on the news, and we're doing classical guitar concerts, and he was just like tweaking us, like our technique. I mean, he like really tweaked our technique a lot, and so we met other guitarists, and this is the point of us getting involved with the U of A professor that young is that we're only dealing with classical guitarist adults, growing and working with them, and then at a certain point in our teenage years, my dad was getting so good at his job that he got hired in San Diego to work for like a bigger company, Unisys Corporation. He was like leading star. So we had to move to San Diego, but we got so good that we had like full ride scholarships to the U of A, but it got taken away because we were out of state. So my brother was done with the classical thing. He's like, I'm sticking to electric. And I was like, I still want to do this. And so the U of A professor called some people in San Diego, said, you got to take these guys. Like, these guys are good. So it turns out that whoever he called auditioned me, and he tore me apart. And I'm like, I hate this guy. It turns out that these guys are the Romeros. And they're like the world famous guitarists with so many recordings under the belt. They're world famous. They've been knighted by the King of Spain, and they're called the Royal Family of the classical guitar. So they took me under their wing for free, teaching me, and that then I was getting too crazy with what I wanted to do, not listening to them. So they said, all right, get this guy on sabicas, which is the godfather of flamenco guitar from Spain. It's like, this will this will pull his reins
It'll
back,
humble
right?
you down.
Yeah. So
And what age is
this
this?
is 16.
You're 16 when your family moves over here to San
Well,
Diego?
no, I was about 15. I was early 15.
Hmm.
By the time I was like, what they tried to mellow me out was when I was 16, and I fell in love with, this is like the true heart, the soul of flamenco of Spain, and this called out to me so hardcore. And so this is flamenco. Like, you have classical, right? Which is like kind of proper, da da da. And then flamenco music is like the true heart of Spain, which is like with a lot of percussive
A
stuff.
lot of flair.
Yeah, so it's like kind of like more like the metal of like the classical guitar, It's like, so they didn't realize that would like just catapult me. It was the catalyst of my flamenco
They
playing.
didn't realize that that's what you needed.
Yeah. They thought it was gonna like, oh, okay, I'll mellow out, I'll listen to you guys, but it just shot me into another level. So I went that way, and my brother went like rock guitar. My older brother was a trumpet player.
Mm.
He loved playing trumpet. Again, he didn't vibe on the mariachi music. We're all Mexican. He was like playing like a lot of like the jazz stuff. My youngest brother, he was like kind of like confused. He knew he was a musician, but he didn't know what part he played in
The
it.
one that played the electric guitar?
The youngest one.
Mm.
He is the bass player of a famous band called Train right now. But he was trying to find himself musically. I'm not sure if he has a passion for anything right now, but he's successful. He's smart. He's like doing great musically. He's played with Keith Urban. He's played with a bunch of people. But the one that's closest to me is Luis, the guy in Foreigner. And as far as like virtuosos, like I think he's amazing. He thinks I'm amazing. I don't see it, He doesn't see why I think he's amazing. But yeah, it's awesome.
That's how you guys kind of ended up going into your own separate lanes in the music, right?
Mhm.
The way that you felt about guitar when your dad showed you before you were playing when you were playing the violin and then you got turned onto the guitar is probably around the same way that he felt about the electric guitar, right?
Yeah, he really has
He had a calling for it.
Mm-hmm. He couldn't, like, he wanted to be like with me all the time playing the same guitars, but like the calling of the electric for him, you could just see it in his eyes. It's like, I remember like vividly one time he got like one of these plastic guitars for Christmas, right? And I broke it by mistake, and it just tore. I can still feel it to date. I'm so old, and I can see how heartbroken he was about that. And it was a mistake on my part, but I was like, it's just like, it's not a real guitar. but it was real to him because it was like an electric guitar, and he wrote like Kiss on it, and like he was into rock music, and you know, that was his love.
Mm-hmm.
He'd sit by the speakers, plug one side of his head and put his other side to the speaker and just listen to like the rock station. It's just wild like that.
And was trying to recreate what he was listening to.
He just didn't want any interruption listening to the guitar tones, like where they were from and where they were going. He just wanted no interruption.
Wow. Oh, you guys have a really deep connection to music. You know, I mean, going all the way back to a lineage. That's what I just found out about right now. Right, we're interviewing you is that your background in music comes from 2-3 generations ago, and maybe even before that. We just don't know it. You don't know it. But moving on to the future in more present time, where did where did you end up from flamenco when you started with the flamenco guitar and those instructors from San Diego? Where did you go after that? I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
So I jumped into the flamenco and I started like winning awards and doing all kinds of stuff. But then since I lost my full ride to the U of A, I went to Palomar College. Back then, it was wonderful. I loved Palomar College because I was a star there, you know.
Were you living in Poway or something?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, we were living in Poway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was, I went to Poway High for my high school, and then went directly into Palomar College, and then here's a funny story. So because I was going to high school and then doing like the stuff with the Romeros, and everyone's from around the world being famous classical guitarists. When we were kids, we were at the U of A. Everyone's an adult doing. So at 19, I was like, I just did not want to. I wanted to go somewhere else. I did not want to live in the house. It's not that I didn't love my parents or anything, but it was just like all of us living together and just I wanted to like be on my own. So at 19, I just like left my home and went to LA.
Mm.
Funny thing is that I got a job because I guess I had to pay rent.
I guess.
Yeah, and I had all my instruments, and then I was just like, you know what? I'm just a job working guy. Like all this music stuff is ridiculous. But then I started making friends at work and doing happy hours and going to their houses. And it was just a strange realization moving out of my parents' house is that I thought everyone played guitar. I thought everyone was an amazing guitarist. I thought everyone grew up playing guitar, had a guitar in their house. No one played guitar. No one grew up playing Bach. No one did anything. It's just like, I was already like 20, 21, and I was still trying to get my head around. Like, I guess I didn't do what you guys did as a teenager or as a child. I was like just with adults all the time playing music.
You were always surrounded by music.
Yeah, and so I was like, where's everyone's guitars in their living rooms? Where's everybody's, And so it was a strange realization. So I quit music. I said, I'm not playing music. It's not for me. It's like this is ridiculous. I got fooled. I got fooled into doing something I didn't want to do. So like for 10 years, I was like not playing music and just working and climbing up the company ladder to the point where I was senior sales of Qualcomm. Right?
Wow.
I was sales guy here, sales guy there. It's just because of my nature of like being a business guy and like being so driven. But I was being driven for like someone else,
Mm-hmm.
And so I met the mother of my kids in LA, and she's the one that told me like, what do you, it was funny because every time I'd go out somewhere and someone had a guitar, I'd play this amazing like whatever, and they're like, when did you learn that? How are you doing that? Like, you're not a musician.
Yeah. Anytime you came across a guitar, you wanted to play it.
Yeah.
It was just like,
and people were shocked because they knew me as Dave from sales.
Mm.
No one knew I wasn't like playing anywhere. I was just like this guy, like super important sales guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when someone like after hours or somewhere someone's house and I'd play like this like amazing thing, they'd be like, "What? What?
Yeah.
How?" You know? And I'm like, I don't know. I just grew up doing that stuff. Like, what? Like
Yeah.
they were so confused. I just remember watching people's confusion.
Yeah. That's probably one of the best
Because
feelings.
Dave from sales can play guitar, not campfire guitar, but
Yeah.
amazing.
So then the mother of your kids,
Yeah, she like knocked some sense into me. You know, that was a serendipitous meeting too, because I met her in L.A. She my best friend went to a wedding with her by my house, and they wanted to come over to my house, me and my roommate, and they wanted to party with us. And so I met her, and like when he came in, I was like, "Come on in," and like we just froze his date, and we're looking at each other, and we're just like lightning. It's like we were like stopped in time. It's like, "Hey," and he's like tapping me on the shoulder. He's like,
wake up.
"Yeah, what's going on?" I'm like, I was like, "I don't know." It's like, "Okay, cool." So then we started dating a bit, and he was mad because he loved her. He wanted to be with her, and she didn't want to be with him. So I stopped dating her because he was my best friend. So she disappeared from my life. Met her 2 other times in 2 different cities. Like ended up meeting her for the last time. Like one of my coworkers when I was working at Qualcomm. Her best friend was amazing. She wanted me to meet her best friend, and it was her. I was like, "How are you in my life again?" You
Was
know?
she in any way involved in Qualcomm?
No,
No.
no. She,
Wow.
but her best friend that lived above her was working with me at Qualcomm.
Right, but I mean,
No,
for you to come across
yeah,
her, someone in general, even a guy or girl, for you to come across someone 3 times in your life in different cities
yeah.
with no.
And we're both living in San Diego.
Mhm.
And she's like, "This is a weird thing because I'm getting married." It's like, "Oh, that's unfortunate." So she ended up getting married, and I played at her wedding. You know, it's like, "Yeah, we're good. We're friends. I know I liked you back then, but we're friends. You're friends with her." Like, it was short lived. She was drunk at her wedding. She didn't want to get married, but she's supposed to marry the rich guy and this and that. She broke off they got a divorce shortly after. And then we got together again. We got together for good this time. And we had 2 beautiful kids. But when she was getting married to the other guy, she was telling me, "You're wasting your life. You're a musician. Like, I've heard all your stuff. I see your talent. You need to like just quit your job and be a musician." Because she always wanted to hear what I've written. I've written stuff in secret. And like she's the only one I could share it with, because she would listen to like from the beginning to the end and not say a word. Was the weirdest thing, because even my brother will show me something. I'm like, "All right." So it just does the same thing. All right. I can only get like through 30 seconds.
You know what the rest sounds like,
Yeah,
or you have a comment to say about that, like,
I
oh,
want to
think,
say something.
yeah, like, oh, I think you can,
Or
tweak it here
I
a
want to
little
look
bit.
at my phone or something.
Yeah.
But she would just like sit there like a statue listening to the very first note to the very last note. Anyway, long story short, she says, "You need to be a musician. It doesn't matter." And so like many people have told me that in my life.
Mhm.
But when she said it, it resonated. And of course, this is pre-kids or anything. And of course, when she said it, that's God talking to me through her. It made sense to me. So I quit my job. I didn't have like even a girlfriend or anything. No kids, no nothing. I said, if I'm homeless, that let it be. But I'm gonna be a musician from now on, because I can't keep living like this without being a musician.
Were you unhappy in the sales industry?
I had a big bank account. I wasn't unhappy, but I just felt like that's I don't want to like that to be my. Here's the thing. I guess my older brother, he died in a car accident. At 25. So this is like halfway through my I quit music
Hmm.
10-year stint. So that's halfway through, and so the next 5 years, I'm like, there's no legacy. He died without. He died with negative $34 in his bank account. He didn't record any of his trumpet stuff. There's nothing in history that like I need to do something in history that like before I die, because I'm gonna die in a car accident too. So I recorded this album after my wife, Michelle told me that I should be a musician, and I recorded this album. And this is right at 2000, the year 2000, when like the internet was kind of coming into play. So this company that I printed all my CDs from, um, they automatically put it on Amazon.com, which I didn't know what that was, but it was selling like crazy. And I was getting these checks. I'm like, what? Who's buying this? So like people were buying my album. It's like crazy. I'm like, okay, that solidifies I'm not gonna be broke, I guess. I had my severance from my job, and everything was fine. I'm like, okay. And so I kept doing music since the year 2000.
Wow. And it boosted that confidence that you were meant for music as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's when I started. I signed to a record label. They were distributing me. I was worldwide, like doing really well in 9 Asian countries. I don't know why. They were like selling like crazy. It was doing so well that I had enough money to buy myself out of my record contract
Mm.
because I wanted all the money. I didn't want them giving me a piece of my money.
Mhm.
And then I did a dumb thing and signed with another record company because they promised me the world and everything, you know. And they were the incredible lawyers that got me out of my other record
Mm.
contract. And so like, but you could sign with us, and you know our legal team, you know, da da da. And I'm like, you're right, let's go.
Yeah.
And so it was awesome because they were working with the Walmart, and I was like, saw big numbers, you know. So it was great. But I think, and you know, touring to Japan and going to Paris and
They
all.
helped you with that.
No, actually, I did it on my own. I was pretending I was my own agent. They just were like like in those days, you needed representation. The indie thing was frowned upon.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, even like Nirvana claims indie in the 90s, but they still had Interscope records and Sub Pop records and all those, like, as long as they were on an indie label, but it wasn't really too indie. It just they
Right.
were claiming. But so it wasn't really like in the underground of like distribution and all of the music, being in your own record label was not really a good thing. So I needed representation at the time. So, but I was doing everything. So
Hmm.
that's why I was booking my own tours, booking my own concerts, like all these festivals all over the place. People loved it. The East Coast went crazy every time I'd play, you know.
And
But
you went out to Japan, or what you
yeah,
said
Japan, Tokyo.
there was a. I mean, it's 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 not it's not uncommon that Japan kind of takes on a lot of different cultures and influences because they have a really big Mexican culture or like
They
influence out
they
there.
are amazing at duplication.
They are
They
right.
like you see like they are amazing musicians too.
Hmm.
These guys can play guitar like crazy. They love like they love my teachers. They love me. They like knew who I was. They knew who my teachers were, and they were like, I can't believe I'm sitting here with someone that studied with the Romeros and then, but they're like phenomenal, better than me. And I'm like, yikes. But the thing is with them is that they can copy everything, but there's no soul in
Hmm.
them. Why I don't know why they don't have a soul. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be offending anybody from Japan, but they don't care about that.
I
They don't.
think it's just more of a technical thing,
They're
right?
great.
It's very technical. It's not, and yeah, it's not to offend anyone from over there, but it's. I mean, you have it in your blood, right? I
Yeah,
mean, you are
I could make a
Spanish.
mistake, and someone's going to feel that more than someone that plays like amazing robotic. You know that they're like, oh, that's great. But if I play somewhere and I bring a tear to someone, that means way more than like playing the right note. You know, I've had, I did a concert in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where this guy was a super fan. And I had a meet and greet that he couldn't afford, but he like waited after to have me sign. I'm like, I'll just bring him in. Like I was like, okay, like I was like bigger at that
Mm-hmm.
point, right? And so he came in, and he was very old, and his family came in, and he said he was dying of cancer, and that my music was the only thing that gave him happiness in the hospital. And like his family's all like, yeah, yeah. And he's like, can I give you a hug? And he gave me a hug, and he started sobbing uncontrollably. I'm like, okay, my music is, I'm losing where I'm at. I need to come back to why I was doing this music in the first place, because I got like standing ovations. I was like getting all like, I'm great and this and that, and I didn't give this guy a time of day, even though he couldn't afford the meet and greet. But I was like, I could have left him out. I could have said, no, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just did this, but I let him in. And then from then on, I'm like, I don't care. I'll play a restaurant. I'll talk to anybody. I don't. It's not about the money anymore. It's about like what I'm doing. And so, being married to my wife and having the two kids, I'm like, I don't need to do any of that. I don't need to do any of that. I just want to be with my kids, not play at RBN. I don't care. I'd rather play at RBN than do a huge concert where I'm backstage, go to the hotel, and be all lonely, you know?
Mm-hmm. Wow. No, I mean, music really touches people in a deep way. Because I mean, I can refer back to songs that take me to a certain place, a certain time, and I can start sobbing and remembering times from back then. Or I can listening like just the other day, I was driving to work and I was just having a bad day, and just I just didn't want to go in, and I just felt like I need to change my mood. And I know anytime that I want to change my mood, I put on a song, like not a certain song, but I put on a genre or I put on an artist, a song that will change my mood, something that I could sing along to, something that I can dance to, and it'll really change your mood. So like to think of someone being in a hospital bed and on their deathbed or something, and listening to something that they enjoy, it does. I mean, it's natural. It's
That's the thing. It's like when with music, you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, but the equivalent of love. The same thing. You can't, but it's such a strong emotion. Love is a strong emotion. Music is like beyond strong emotion, and I actually get to do that, like for people,
mhm.
like like I don't like I'm not doing it for people. I get to be part of this thing that's happening on this planet where I get to like transcend this for someone or people or I don't know. It's incredible. It really is.
100%. So going back to your family, with the mother of your children, she influenced you to drop everything you were doing in the sales industry, get into music full time. You got into music. Um, we have your daughter here in the room today. When did they come into the picture?
So they came in rather not quickly. Like I was so in love with Michelle. She was amazing, right? I loved her. I think like everything about her I loved. So we moved in together, and she's like, I felt like a loser at first because she was like, you have been working, you've been taking care of so many people in your life. You need to just like stay home. I'm gonna work, and then you work on your music. I'm like, is this a trick? This that was way too good to be true because she's a beautiful woman, right? Beautiful. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway, so um, I love her. We get married. We just get married at the courthouse. You know, I would have loved a big extravagant thing, but it just wasn't in the cards. But all of my life, I've always wanted a boy and a girl, a child, two children. That's all I wanted, a boy and a girl. And I'm like, how am I going to get that? And like throughout my 20s, being in the sales in LA and this and that, I was like, Playboy or whatever. I'm like, I'm never going to have a kid unless, how am I going to have a kid? I'm not a woman. I can't like trick someone to have a kid. I just didn't want a wife.
Let alone like make a boy and a girl, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you biologically we don't have that
Oh, I'm a
that power.
guy. And like I just didn't want the wife. I just wanted the boy and the girl for some reason. Like I don't know what was in my mind that made that.
That's kind of my mind right now in life, right?
I don't know, but it ended up that like here's God again. He's like here's a boy, and here's a girl. It's like so. Michelle was an addict. She was a. That's why her relationships didn't work because people would like just walk away from her addiction. So when we finally got together, she was clean and sober. And she did that because she wanted to make a life with me. She was also very in love with me. Like that's all everyone would talk about when she was with that last husband or in those years that she could never forget me. Anyway, so we made it work. Well, it wasn't a struggle. It was easy. We had a great time. We had two kids. But it was just a struggle when my daughter was being born because once she got pregnant, and we found she relapsed. So she was doing a lot of stuff that I did not know about, and um, I don't know. She ended up in jails and rehabs throughout our marriage. But I wasn't going to give up. I was never going to divorce her until it got dangerous for her to be around the kids, and I had to get full custody of the kids. Anyway, I have my two kids
Hmm.
from birth, raising them, loving them, and they love me.
And what are the kids' names?
My son's name is Angel or Angel. My daughter's name is Selena, and that's Selina.
I and A.
Selena.
Selena.
Yeah, but unfortunately, their mom overdosed eventually, and it was a sad time in our lives. But now it ended up the three of us, and we love each other, and we've been through so much. And so that's why, like, when my brother died, it was tragic, and it put me in a different space about my legend and where I want to go with music. That kind of guided that way. My kids were born amazing. My kids have been living amazing. She died. It was a low point in all our lives. It's still it sucked throughout my daughter's whole elementary, like in elementary school, all of the kids, like most of the moms are involved. I'm the only dad that shows up, and it's kind of rough to not have a mom through elementary school and middle school and even high school. I'm the only guy there,
Hmm.
and all the moms are flirting with me. I'm like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for my kids.
Hmm.
It's like I know for a fact all you guys are married. Get off me.
Yeah.
But and I don't know what it does, but I don't know how it's gonna like go on in the future. But I've been there for my kids
Hmm.
completely. Obviously, I'm not touring. I do one-offs. I take them with me to different cities when I'm performing as much as I can if the price is right.
Hmm. And so I mean, taking it all back to what you were saying earlier is you appreciate and you cherish more the time that you have with family. You rather be close to them. You rather be at home than touring. You want to be closer to home. So and
Annoyingly so. I think that my kids get annoyed because, like, I'm like, hey, good morning. It's like they're not ready for me.
yeah,
So I'm just like, they come.
Dad, go play somewhere.
Yeah. Like, what's up? Hey.
Yeah.
Especially my son, because he's definitely not a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'll just like, what's up?
Yeah.
It's like, let me go do my thing.
Yeah, let me go do my thing. I'll be right back out, Dad.
Yeah.
Wow. No, it's beautiful, man. We're nearing towards the end of our podcast, of our episode here. Um, Tell the people what you have going on, where they can find you, if they like your story, if they want to connect with you, if they um, have similar stories or background, and they just want to talk to you, or where they can go hear your music. Tell the people where they can go reach out to you.
So they can reach out to me, obviously, in like today's platforms. They can find me on the internet at davidmaldonado.com, and I'm streaming everywhere that you can hear music: Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Tidal, everywhere. So my album that I released after my wife died is called Davikas, and it went to number 2 for 49 weeks on the Billboard charts.
Wow.
The only reason it was never number 1 is because like the South Korean BTS machine, the South Korean
The
boy
K-pop.
bands. Yeah, like they're in the international category with me because my music is Spanish, but I could never be their fan base of sales. Right?
I don't know how they made it so
Yeah.
big. I mean, I don't listen to them. I'm not judging against it,
They're
but
they're
I
just
don't
they're
I
just
don't
here for now.
I don't listen to. I can't even understand what they're saying. So I don't know how. My cousin's Mexican and she lives in Mexico and she loves BTS
Worldwide.
and everyone like, do you even know what they're saying?
Yeah.
But anyways,
So yeah, and the reason that went to that charted on the Billboard charts is because I actually went back to the house where I was born. I went to Nogales,
wow.
and I walked all the streets, and like it was like a dream. It's like I know all these streets. I went up and down all this. We never had food. It like in the refrigerator. We actually bought daily food to eat and this and that. Anyway, so like that was and the passing of my wife, and like that was that album Davikas. So if they want to go to that album Davikas, Davikas, they can listen to that. I did the second one, Davikas XX. So XX was gonna be like 2020, and it also means XX chromosomes for females because my Michelle died, and I have this beautiful daughter. So that's kind of a dedication to them. A lot of the song titles are about women, and not like in the way like, oh yeah, they're hot and like it's Friday night. It's about women and their beauty and this and that. So there's a trilogy that I'm going to release, the third album, but it's going to be symphonic, and it's going to be released at next spring. I've already started writing it, but recording it is going to take some time with the symphony. So that one's going to be released too. So like if they want to follow me, the next album is probably the last album that I'm releasing ever, because now it's just like singles and whatnot. It's going to be Davikas, and I'm not going to say the title of the album because it might change along the way.
Right.
But it's the trilogy to the Davikas albums, Davikas. So davidmaldonado.com, and I'm trying to stay more in San Diego, but I'm a lot in Temecula playing the wineries. But yeah.
And what wineries can they find you at?
They
Do you
can-
have any
They
residencies or wineries?
Yeah, there's 2 that I'm playing. They're very Spanish style. The Altísima is a modern Spanish place, and Bolero by Europa they can find me there, and mostly at the Hotel del Coronado. I have a residency every Friday there. As the sun sets, I do 6 to 9. The sun sets behind me. I'm in the main area.
Nice. That's beautiful. And I've heard your music before too. So funny story. I had known you for a few months or a year maybe before I even heard your music. And I remember one time walking downstairs and I think I was grabbing some things I needed for upstairs for the bar. And I hear music and I look out and I was like, oh, that's David. And I was like, damn, he plays that. And I was just so like, I was mind blown. I was like, man, I gotta, like, I wish I wasn't working. I can hang out here because it's amazing, man. It's beautiful. You're talented. Um, so people can reach you out at David Maldonado on Instagram.
Yeah, and also on my Instagram and my Facebook and my X, it's Davicas. That's like my handle. My username is Davicas. Davicas on Instagram, Facebook, X. Don't go to my LinkedIn unless you want to hire me for a job. Dave in sales.
There you go. Going back to Qualcomm. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate you coming on to the podcast today and taking your time to.
Man, you're such an awesome person. Thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it.
No, man. I mean, you had to take time to look into your family history, talk to your mom, get a little bit of information of all that. But I appreciate you. I really do. And I would love for you to leave the people off with a little something from your guitar, from something that you can play for them. And
let's stick with the family thing. And so, like, when I saw my dad playing that thing, is one of the first songs that I really played. Obviously, this is an advanced version of it, but it's what triggered me.
I would love that
so much. Okay.
I would love to hear that. That is David Maldonado, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Lineage Legacy podcast. I am your host, Francisco Aguilar. David, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Appreciate it.